Welcome to this week's edition of the Cheap Pop Podcast with K Double and Alpha. Boys, take it away.
The following Four Aces production is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is highly advised.
Hello, 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 hello. I say to you, hello, as I come to this arena to do battle. Haha. What's up, y'all? Double K Double here. Chilling out in 4 Aces virtual studios with the man, with the master plan, the one man, Alpha. What's up, brother?
Mm-hmm. It's your boy Alpha here. We're going to be talking about some comics and shit this time around. I'm opening the show with my boy Apollo Cruz today.
Oh. There's been this show, and it's kind of been floating around for about 3-4 years now. And it started out as an idea a while back by Ralph Macchio, is what I call him, but I forget the kid's name, but Danielson came with the idea of continuing on the Marita-verse, as they call it, or no, what is it? Miyagi-verse, as they call it, and continue it on with this show called Cobra Kai. Okay, an idea turns into Johnny Lawrence, otherwise known as, God damn it, William Zabka is on board. Well, oh shit. All right, so we got the Karate Kid and his greatest enemy signed on board. All right, I might check that out. YouTube TV is where it first debuted. I wasn't going to pay an extra $40 for another live television service.
Right.
So I just missed it. I missed the initial hype train and the initial train of Cobra Kai. All of my friends didn't. They all watched it and was just raving about it. Said, dude, it's dope, dude. Da, da, da. It wasn't until I think YouTube let them go and Netflix picked them up.
Yeah.
That I finally ended up watching the first season of Cobra Kai. And I was like, ooh, I missed the bus on this one. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. Like, this show is damn good. And we've kept up with it ever since. Well, most recently on December 31st of this most last year, we got Cobra Kai season 4. And we got the return of some old school faces. And I love the way that they intertwine all of the stories that are going on with what went on in the movies. So you get these flashbacks, and they're flashbacks to the movies. And it allows you to go on this journey with these characters, and I like Miyagi-Do, but I'm an Eagle fan guy. Like, I just am. Like,
I feel that.
So you had the first season where Johnny tries to redeem himself and come back. You had the second season where John Kreese shows up. You have the third season where they defeat Kreese, but in the process, Johnny loses his son, Robbie, to Kreese's brainwashing.
Yeah.
And Cobra Kai. So this season was supposed to be the season where Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do come together to defeat Cobra Kai. I thought it was everything it should have been.
Fucking awesome.
everything it should have been. I'm still gigging the battles between Tori and the daughter. Like those are just beautiful.
Fucking awesome.
So we get taken on this ride where now Robbie and Tori are the bad guys. You know, and
I'm not Dean Ambrose. I'm Mean Ambrose now.
Exactly.
As I say.
And I love the integration of the reversal of everything with the integration of the little guy. I don't want to say the little black kid, but that's really I can't remember his name, so that's primarily what I think his name was Ronnie.
Yeah, it's fucking Ronnie.
I was like, little black kid, you know. But anyway, but he the whole integration of him being bullied by Daniel's son.
Yeah.
You know, and how that all shaped out, you know, like that was definitely something, a storyline that introduced a new character while at the same time keeping that same bully victim dynamic, but just reversing the roles.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say the bully dynamic. It is just one of the on-running themes in karate movies and media as a whole is that martial arts is used by those who aren't very physically imposing to be on an even level with those who are physically imposing.
Very much so. Very much so. And but you had that whole storyline that I increasingly loved watching. And I love watching, once again, the small little character arc of the LaRusso boys.
Yes.
Of going from being, of really only being the guy, the go along is what I call it. If you watch all the bully scenarios that were there, he was never the bully that initiated. Mm-hmm. He was just kind of the dude that went along because his homeboys were doing it, you know. And yeah, he was just as wrong as they were for doing what he did. But a lot of it wasn't initiated by him. A lot of it was his friends pushing him into being a bully. And you know, you saw that kind of peer pressure dynamic. And
eventually
but I love
led to the change in his character, which was so fucking interesting to see. Like in the entirety of the show, it feels like there wasn't really a loose end, even if this isn't the end yet. It feels like there wasn't a character that wasn't paid attention to. And details like that make the world feel really alive. And that was very, very succeeded in this.
Oh, and don't get me wrong, like my favorite character arc out of this entire thing was my boy Hawk.
I was gonna say fucking Hawk's arc is the best fucking thing so far. I believe we've kept up with reviewing this show, arguably just as, if not longer than we have with the CW verse. Which is a testament because we hardly keep up with shit.
Very, very true.
But that's just a testament to how good this show is. But through the entirety of this, I feel like there's an arc that I'm more passionate about than fucking Hawk. Like Hawk's arc has been amazing, and seeing his arc
to bully to redeemed,
to champion, it is everything.
I have never rooted for, hated, and then rooted for a character like I did for him.
Dude, bro.
But I love the fact that, and here's the best thing about it, they listen and they understand. For the first basically 3 seasons, every season you got this mass like 8-on-8 battle royale fight scene in one of the last like couple of episodes. This season didn't have that. This season ended with the All Valley. And that to me was very important.
Yes, exactly.
At some point, the battle royales have to stop. Like, or else the parents should be arrested. Like every year it's these fucking kids battling it out. And so in gang versus gang.
Out of nowhere, it's my 5 motherfuckers versus you 5 motherfuckers.
Oh, bro, in the last season, a high school freshman got thrown through a fucking window. Like,
no, exactly. But much like fucking Rey Mysterio being thrown off the building and the Money in the Bank, is like, are we not gonna talk about this shit? Are we not gonna talk about what the fuck we just saw? Shades of that.
Like it was like, but I'm like, from law enforcement's point of view, it's like, wait a minute, nah, we got to move at least half of y'all out the fucking city, because every fucking year,
every year y'all fuck some shit up.
so like, yeah, they had the whole what was it, team fight at the prom.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and I love the fact that they're kind of pushing Robbie and Tori together. Like, all right, yeah. Circumstances kind of led us here. Okay, I get that. But yeah, like, and it also, we talk character arcs. Robbie's character arc, was another huge one. Because I love the instant that he realizes what he's made in Ronnie, and he's like, no, that's not why I took you. That's not why, and yeah. And so like that being part of Ronnie's overall story arc of coming back down to reality of like, wait a minute, maybe the way of Cobra Kai isn't the way. Now let's talk. We have kind of strayed away from and not talked about the biggest story arc of all, and that was the return of the one and only Terry Silver to Cobra Kai. And wow, is all I can say.
Fuck.
Wow. Like, if you thought Kreese was an asshole, you ain't seen nothing yet. Like,
oh god, so
and the beautiful
Bison level villain.
And the best thing about it is that you watched Kreese turn him into exactly what he became.
Exactly.
And talk about it backfiring, bro, like right in the face.
No, it's like, so good. It's so good.
It's just,
nothing's better than the hidden villain.
Yeah. And that ending.
No, the fucking ending. Exactly. I was gonna say the ending note was with that. It was fucking awesome.
Bro, bro, look. It wouldn't have made me happier to hear him cackle like Skeletor in the background as they were putting Kreese into the fucking thing. He just,
you mean, hey man,
exactly.
Like that.
Oh, he did him so damn dirty.
No,
so damn dirty.
Oh my god, that's you know what I love. It's like in the end of the anime, when the end of season 1 comes around. And the hero's beating the season 1 boss, and it pans out, and the season 2 boss is watching over the fight, like,
this is what's coming for me then.
Shades of that shit. I love it, dude.
I will be ready. No,
exactly.
So man, but yeah, like that was hardcore cold. But the center point,
fucking character up, man.
The center, and it's setting up the season 5 villain like, oh yeah, it's about to get good. I'm thinking they said that they're planning on bringing back the kid that was the villain from Cobra Kai, not William Zabka's character, but there was another one that was after Terry Silver. I think it was in Karate Kid Part 3.
Yeah.
And like I can't wait. But anyway, the center point of all of this was the All Valley tournament.
Yeah.
And we already talked about the male champion in Hawk. Okay. Now we need to talk about the female bout, as well as Tori's individual arc and her interactions with Mrs. LaRusso. And that was a great side story, real compelling, like, because it really made you feel a little bit of sympathy for one of the coldest bitches in the fucking show.
No, you're
like,
right.
Let's be real.
I don't believe that every character deserves a redemption arc and all villains deserve to be humanized, but it was hard not to enjoy Tori's character being slowly represented as more human and having actual emotion, and it was fucking great.
It definitely was. and the whole dynamic with Sam and her,
Yeah,
and Sam and her mom, because of what was going on with her, but her mom understanding where she was, where Tori was at, and wanting to help.
exactly.
Just, yeah. But it led us to the All Valley tournament. And as everybody knew, like, we had a couple of like random female characters in there that were just like, yeah, no, it's Tori and Sam in the finals. Like, we
Yeah,
knew that round one. Like, only difference is it didn't go as we thought. I thought this was going to build to Sam, dun, 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 the champion, the first ever female champion.
yeah.
And instead it builds to Tori as the champ. Now, what we come to find out later is what sets up for what should be an amazing storyline down the road. And we'll talk about something else that set up for it too in the last couple of episodes. Tori catches Silver paying off the ref for making sure that the match went Tori's way. So now the question leaves, what is she going to do with that information?
Exactly.
That victory that she's so proud of wasn't necessarily hers. So what is she going to do with that information?
Exactly. I was going to say that build up to Sam winning, I believe, was purposeful.
Yeah.
Like, I believe in the way that Silver paying off the ref is symbolic of saying, like, no, like, he's doing this because he knows Sam would have won. That would have been Sam.
Right.
And I think that's an interesting, like, plot point here to roll with.
It's going to make for some interesting knowledge, just like, so Miguel drops out of the tournament, right? Instead of having a Mr. Miyagi moment,
instead of having his moment,
he drops out of the tournament altogether, not the fight, allowing, I believe it was Robbie, to advance to face Hawk in the finals. They gave us the Hawk championship. But Miguel takes off, hops in the Uber, goes back to his house, gathers some shit up, and decides, I'm hopping on a bus and going to Mexico to go see my real dad. What the fuck? So
yeah. I was just like, oh shit, all right, okay.
Well, okay. Adios, Miguel. I don't know.
The simplicity of that. No, I mean, in reality, it's like, well, fuck.
But
Bobby
the great part of
the fight, and I was super into that. Like,
yeah.
Sorry.
But the great part about it is that now Johnny's going to Mexico to go find him and his father.
Exactly.
And that's going to make for some good movie.
Yeah.
Because we all know Johnny got a hot head and a quick fist. So it's going to make for some good in the next movie or in the next season. This season as a whole, I have to give it at least 4.5 stars. And that's just because it had some flaws to it. There were little parts here and there where that drug on. But overall, definitely great. And like I said, nothing's, like I've always said, nothing's ever perfect.
Yeah.
But this is about as close to perfect as perfect can be. Because they killed every aspect of it, including having that moment at the All Valley where, trying to help Sam win, where both Johnny and Daniel come together, as coaches.
Exactly.
We didn't
even talk about that. Yeah, you're right. That was a really, really fucking nice moment.
And so it gave us everything we could have wanted, which only makes me think the season 5 will give us everything we want more. Especially with the very, very end. And let's get to that in our last minute and a half.
There we go.
In which Daniel is at the grave of Mr. Miyagi, basically apologizing, or at least you think so. And he's talking about how, he has to find somebody who understands Miyagi-Do even better than he does. And the camera kind of keeps on Daniel, but then pans and circles to the right. And who's there? Chosen, baby. The man who showed him the move that helped him out in season 2. Chosen is standing there.
Yes.
He walks to stand beside Daniel and says, yes, yes. And they didn't even have to say nothing. It was just like, yes, yes, yes,
God.
yes.
Instant fucking mark out.
Terry Silver's going to bring in his dude. Danielson's bringing in Chosen. And yeah, I think it's going to be beautiful.
Oh, God.
Season 5.
Fucking raw.
We have not gotten a release date for season 5 yet, but it should be expected to drop around the same time that the seasons have been dropping the past few years, like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, somewhere like that.
Around Christmas to New Year's is usually when it comes around. I like to call it my favorite Christmas present is new season of Cobra Kai.
Oh yes, my friend, because Cobra Kai is definitely and see, I think that's part of it. Okay, see, I think there are certain shows, and we'll close the segment on this note. There are certain shows that are meant to be watched week to week. I think there are other shows that are meant to be binged and that are meant to be watched
like an extended movie, basically.
Right. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is one of those shows that's meant to be binged. As great as it was watching it week to week, it's meant to be binged. I
think it's better as a long movie.
Right. And so at the end of the day, it's like Cobra Kai is something that's meant to be binged. So only dropping it once a year and only giving us 10 episodes leaves us just thirsty enough that we're wanting another season.
Yep.
And that's where we're at. We want another season.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So that's going to be our first half of the show. We will come back on the second half of the show to talk Book of Boba Fett.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. Peace. You're listening to the Cheap Pop Podcast right here on the 4 Aces Presents Radio Network. Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and wherever you may find your favorite podcasts. It's me, Double KK Double again. This time I'm here to tell you about two of the best sports shows on internet radio. I'm talking about West Coast Bias with me, O'Malley, and The Duel. Occasional visits from an original host, Mr. Suave, and Double K's Classroom, hosted by me. Both shows feature sports talk about teams from the West Coast. So if you get down with West Coast sports, these are the shows for you. West Coast Bias airs every other Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and Double K's Classroom airs alternating Fridays at 8 p.m. on the 4 Aces Presents Radio Network on Spreaker.com. Imagine this. It's Friday night. You're at home wishing you can listen to an amazing playlist of some of your favorite music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Pop, rock, whatever. Then take out your favorite podcast listening device and tune in to KD5P, otherwise known as K-Double's 5th period music class. Every Friday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, K-Double brings you some of your favorite tunes live on the 4 Aces Presents Radio Network on Live 365. We're back. This delicious voice and chocolate face, not to mention the sexy chocolate voice that you hear. And yeah, I said the voice twice, and I know, is Double KK Double. And I am here with that other sultry voice, the one and only Alpha.
Mm-hmm. You bet. It's Alpha, and we're gonna talk some fucking Mando. We're gonna talk Book of Boba now. and see. Now we're gonna open today with fun facts with Alpha. And so,
Yes.
in the extended Star Wars universe, I'm gonna tell you some shit. So, as you know, Mandos and Jedis are diametrically opposed and always at each other's fucking throats and constantly at war with each other, right? And so, as such, in the Mando and Jedi war, of course, Jedi, one of the main forms of Jedi combat, is learning to deflect lasers. It's literally, I forget which form of combat it is. I think it's form 2 or 3, but it's literally focused on deflecting any projectile that comes your way. And so Mando's learned that, shit, look, all of our laser weapons are completely effective against Jedi. What do we do? So they said, all right, bet. And they just reverted back to fucking bullets and shotguns again to kill Jedi.
Deflect these
Parry this, motherfucker.
Exactly. Oh, man.
Actual true shit. Not joking. Star Wars Legends canon.
All right. So Book of Boba Fett is something I'm gonna give you a little bit of personal perspective here. Like when I tell you that Boba Fett was one of the most popular characters to come out of the original Star Wars trilogy, and the man's only in the series, like I want to say for a total of like 12 minutes.
There have been polls taken that have shown that not even in like Star Wars, but in movie history, in terms of least spoken lines ratio to mass popularity, Boba Fett is on a whole nother fucking level.
Oh, like it's precious, but like so imagine me as this older man, I'll say for right now. As a kid being a big fan of Boba Fett, now coming to this point in my life where now I'm watching this Star Wars product that's giving me, now don't get me wrong, the books, you could always read more about Boba Fett and his adventures, and that's part of how it became so popular. But for me, I never went and read those books. Like I was like, I will see the movies. But here I am getting to see some Boba Fett stories live action, and it's been amazing. Episode 1 literally took us from a moment in Star Wars lore into Boba Fett's story.
It gave a full new perspective on one of the most memorable and like one of the most specifically like changing moments in all Star Wars history. It's a fucking Sarlacc pit, dude.
Yep. And Boba's that bad. Boba that bad that he survived the Sarlacc pit. Like people don't survive that, and Boba survived it. Why? Because he's fucking Boba Fett. But episode 1, some of my favorite moments were just like, first of all, his interaction with the kid when he first escapes.
Yeah,
like that was hilarious, or that had its like charm to it. And then for me, the moment when he saves the kid from the whatever that was out there in the desert. But when they come back, he lets the kid take the credit for having killed the beast. But Pops knew. Pops was like, here, dude.
Come on now.
Like, here. Like, I know you killed that thing, but thanks for letting my boy take the credit. Like, you know.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, because it's that's how pretty much you're welcomed into Mando culture as well. And I think that's why he looked at it that way. That's why for him it was instantly like, got to give the kid credit. Because in Mandalorian culture, that's how you're accepted.
And so like it led to some great moments. We saw the episode where him and Fennec Shand found each other, and he saved her. And I Fennec, Ming Na Wen, man.
Ming Na Wen.
I've been kind of watching her twice as much, watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and watching Mandalorian, but it doesn't bother me. I give me all the Ming Na Wen
fucking love Ming Na Wen
content. Give it all to me, all at once. I'm good.
She's fucking great.
Yeah, she is. She's
killing in the show, and her performance in this show is fucking amazing.
Fucking amazing is correct. But she has provided us with some of the greatest moments, you know. But you have Boba now on Mos Eisley, and he's now taken over because when they killed Jabba, it left a power vacuum there. Left a power vacuum there where people did not. There was nobody in charge.
Yeah.
And then I forgot who Boba killed at the end of the Mandalorian season that allowed him to take over, but he killed the guy that he basically tried to sit in for where Jabba was after Jabba died.
If you go all the way back to when we talked about the Mandalorian, if you manage to find it, if you manage to fucking find it somehow, I'm willing to bet my left hand, because I remember saying it, is when it had, I forget his name, but it was the dude with the tentacle on his head. I know what you're talking about. He walks in and he kills him, and then he sits down on the throne. Yeah. And that was the prelude for Book of Boba. And I was instantly like, this, in Legends lore, in the comics, which I keep referencing as we go along here, is where Boba Fett canonically becomes basically the fucking Heisenberg of Mos Eisley. He basically walks in after Jabba is dead, is known as the man who survived the Sarlacc pit, kills homie with the tentacles on his head, and sits down and becomes mob boss of fucking Mos Eisley, which is what we've seen so far. And his development so far has basically been based around that after this episode. But if you can find it after we finished book The Mandalorian, I talked about how this is exactly where it would go based off of Legends lore.
Alpha facts.
It's fucking great though, and I love seeing this though because it's exactly as it was in Legends. Like I love all the connections to it, and it's being portrayed amazingly. Like
it definitely 100%
like this fucking angry bounty hunting space Heisenberg. It's fucking amazing.
I love the healing tank. That shit's pretty cool. Like, we're getting back to who Boba really is and him kicking some ass. But for me, one of my favorite moments actually created one of the funniest memes I've seen on the whatchamacallit, but it's the moment when Danny Trejo makes his first appearance in in the Book of Boba Fett as the Rancor trainer.
I'm very fucking passionate about Danny Trejo, so him being now introduced in Star Wars is a huge markup.
So, but somebody put up a meme where it shows the Jabba's like offering the Rancor, and it shows him drive up with the Rancor, and then it goes back to to Boba and Fennec, and they're like, "Oh shit, is that Machete?" And I'm like, dun dun dun, the only dude that can take out Boba, dun dun dun.
That's so fucking good. Oh shit, is that Machete?
But here we go. I'm gonna give you my final moment. I gave you this right before off air, but I give Book of Boba Fett complete credit for introducing the world's first Black Wookiee. And I don't mean like the dude was black instead of Chewbacca being like brown. I mean, go back and watch the episodes he was in and look at his facial expressions. That was a Black Wookiee. When Boba let him go, the expression on nigga, really, like that, like after all that, really, all right, player. I'll catch you next time then. And he runs off. And then when you see him in that club, just sitting there, he's looking like, if these motherfuckers don't stop, ooh, I'm about to hurt somebody. And then he gets up and does. The Star Wars first Black Wookiee. Now I mean, attitude, color of fur, the whole shebang. Like, and dude wasn't no fucking joke. Like, yeah, what? Anyway.
It's fucking wonderful, bro. It was fucking great. Purely a story told purely with fucking eyes. I love it.
Amazing. All right, so now with the second half of the episode, or this segment coming up, let's talk about just episode 5 and episode 6. Like episode 1 through 4 was all about setting up Boba in that story right there. So we take a break from that story in episode 5, and like I jokingly called it before we came on air, it's Book of Boba Fett episode 5 in parentheses, Mandalorian season 1 or season 3, episode 1.
This is the Din Djarin special episode.
Yeah, like it basically just picks up where the Mandalorian season left off. Din Djarin with learning how to cope with holding the dark saber, and effectively in a fucked up way being kicked out of the coven. Like I was like, that's kind of cold.
Fucked up.
Have you taken off your mask? Bitch, you know how I have. Like, why are you bringing this shit? Yeah. Then you got to go. All right, fuck this shit.
Like, fuck you then, man. Like, it was, for me, it's a really, really niche reference to make. But in Fallout 1, the very, very, very first Fallout game, the plot of the game is you go and you save your vault by basically replenishing the entirety of the water supply. When you bring it back, they basically are like, well, in your time in the wasteland, you've killed so much trying to get that chip to save us all. We all think you're a monster. So you're exiled. So you can't come back. And that's all I think of when this happened. I was like, man, like, you mean he just did a huge part in actually helping the Mandalorian culture and putting y'all back on the fucking map. And he comes back and instantly like, oh, you took the helmet off? All right, fuck you, man. Fuck about it. Along here. That's fucked up, man. Like, I got the dark saber. I'm the king of the Mandalorians. I should kick you out.
Yeah, but he respectively takes his sword and takes off and goes to meet up with Miss Fennec Shan. Well, actually, no. First,
I was gonna say
we find out in the next episode that first he makes a pit stop to go bring, because she melts down. Oh, that was the other thing too. Is she took the Beskar spear from him and melted it down into a piece of armor for him, and then this cute little chainmail armor for Grogu. That was chainmail Grogu
armor. The chainmail Grogu armor.
That was beautiful. Now, don't get me wrong. What Luke did with it was fucked up, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah. So like he goes and he has her make this armor, and she wraps it up in a thing and gives it to him. Yeah, he makes a piece of armor for him. He fights with the dude who I guess is the descendant of the dude who created the Darksaber, and Din Djarin ends up beating his ass with a little knife too.
I do want to say though that I really like the way that Din Djarin fights with the Darksaber, and the way that he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Yep.
And that there's also a lot of like hidden things here, again, hidden facts with Alpha. The thing about wielding a lightsaber is the kyber crystal in it is basically where all the weight is derived from in it. Not only that, but your being in tune with the Force is what makes you being able to use the saber better. Hence why in Force Awakens we have Finn, who, like I said, was kept alluded to be Force sensitive, but they never pulled the trigger on it. But you can see him slowly getting better with it as he goes along, whereas in the beginning he was completely out of tune with the Force, whack a shit with it. But like we see here, Din Djarin completely out of tune with the Force, so he's clumsy and he fucking cuts himself with it.
Oh no.
Like, yeah, he's clumsy and he doesn't know what he's doing because he's not in tune with the Force, but that doesn't mean he's necessarily can't use it.
Right. And he can learn to use it, is the thing about it. That's what she was trying to teach him. And she was trying to teach him that the thing becomes heavier the longer you battle with it.
Exactly.
You know, because you're not going with the sword, you're going against the sword. And so like, yeah, like I can see there's a lot of development there, and a potential storyline for season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Exactly.
It's his journey to learn to use the Darksaber. And truly become the king of Mandalore. Okay, so he finally shows up. So we go to season 6 and see where his little side mission was. And in this episode, we get to see Luke, a young Luke, training Grogu in the ways of the Force.
Might I add, the capturing system they're using for Luke is fucking incredible.
Incredible. But my favorite scene in that whole sequence was Jump.
Jump, 1 inch little hop.
Like, that was just too cute. He's like, I'm trying.
What do you think I'm doing? Stubby legs.
Oh man. But yeah, that sequence was pretty amazing. Like Luke running up the trees and like I was like, yeah, you be cool, Luke. You be cool, dude. Like
this is what the future is about. You bring me back, Luke Skywalker. The future is now.
I like the fact that they brought in Ahsoka.
Yeah, seeing
give
me more Rosario Dawson Ahsoka.
Yeah, give me more. Give me more. And it was just one of those sequences where I felt like this is the Star Wars I should have been seeing like years ago. Why? Like I love the fact that I'm seeing it now, but I should have been seeing this years ago. But overall, like that whole sequence made my week. Like I could go to bed happy every day for the rest of the week simply because I viewed that portion of that episode.
I don't care if anyone wants to call it fucking fan service or anything. It's like this is fucking amazing. This is what Star Wars is, and this is the closest thing we'll ever get to Legends canon, and I fucking love it. I'm like, this is what George Lucas has always had over everybody with Star Wars. It's that he's had a universe that feels more alive and detailed than anything else.
Yeah.
And that's the difference in a lot of different styles in writing when you compare him to when you compare the product of like Game of Thrones or the product of Lord of the Rings or Star Trek, is that these stories are really good, don't get me wrong, but hardly do any of these have a world that feels alive and that can go on without the main characters like the world of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Book of Boba taking so many perspectives is a huge proof of that.
Amen. And understand, guys, we've now gotten the continuation of the link to Mandalorian season 3 via Book of Boba Fett. Like, you know what I'm saying? On top of Book of Boba Fett's dramatic storytelling of its own story, it's now continued on 2 other stories at the same time. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's kind of stupid. I do consider it ironic, that we had an entire episode of Book of Boba Fett and Boba Fett was nowhere to be seen in the episode. But I think about some of the seasons. Okay, like I'll use a prime example like this.
Go ahead.
Scrubs did that as a normal storytelling gadget
device
on a regular basis, at least once or twice a season, where there were episodes where you would maybe the main characters really only had like 1 or 2 lines, and pretty much the entire episode was about side characters. And other people in the Scrubs universe. And so I love when you tell stories of other people within the same universe while still staying connected to your main storyline. I enjoy that. When that's done.
I think it's really interesting as well. Something that I do want to bring up is that I would have honestly enjoyed if all of this was just under the blanket flag of The Mandalorian. I think honestly, not only just because like, oh, Din Djarin's here, this or that. No, I believe because The Mandalorian should just be the overarching story of Mandalorians as a whole, rather than The Mandalorian being a term for one. I think it's really interesting. And that being said, I think it is really interesting as well that when we take a look at all the characters we've gotten perspectives of, I think there is something adding up in the way that we've seen perspectives of Din Djarin, of Boba, and then we have the perspective of Grogu, which is really interesting, which is a possible lead of that Grogu isn't going to be a Jedi, but a possible Mandalorian instead, which I think is really interesting.
Now, before we close out this segment, let's talk about that. The last thing we see before The Mandalorian goes off air is Luke sit down with Grogu and present to him either the chainmail armor that he received from the Mandalorian, from his friend the Mandalorian, and he would be allowed to go with the Mandalorian. He'd be allowed to leave and reunite with his friend. Or Yoda's lightsaber, and he stays and trains as a Jedi, but he can never see the Mandalorian ever again.
Mm.
Fuck you, Luke. This is a baby. I don't care if he's 100 years old by our standards. This is a fucking baby. Why are you fucking doing it? Why are you fucking doing that to a baby?
Evil.
You evil, man. That's wrong. Don't make the baby choose. Give him both. Give him the lightsaber and the armor.
Give them both. Mando Jedi. That should be awesome. Come on.
Thank you. Shit. but yeah, like it was just, yeah. It was just heart. It tugged at my heart, especially when they showed his little face and he's like,
pretty ununderstanding, like unable to get it.
Yeah. Doesn't understand why he can't have both.
Yeah.
My friend and my training. Why? But we find out, I guess, either next season or next episode. I don't know if that's the final episode of Book of Boba Fett. I don't know how many episodes it's supposed to be. Hold on, let me ask Google real quick.
Google.
How many episodes is this season? Yeah, I know something wrong. How many episodes is this season of Book of Boba Fett? All right, so 7 episodes. So we got one more episode. We got one more episode.
Yeah, we're on the finale then.
Yep.
Shit. Walking in the finale.
So that's what we'll talk about next episode, next comics episode.
Yeah, next comics episode.
So I believe next week we're gonna be talking to the big sweaty men's again, right?
Yes, we are. I think not Elimination Chamber, but we will have lead up to Elimination Chamber by that point at least.
I was gonna say, when is Elimination Chamber? The 20th?
I believe the weekend after.
So the 19th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, we'll have the prelude up to whatchamacallit. Okay. And then when we come back, we'll talk Book of Boba Fett series finale or season finale and what's coming up next for Disney Plus, as well as who knows? Maybe I'll finally get Alpha to watch the rest of The Good Place. We'll always find something interesting to talk to you about. Alpha, go ahead and take us home, brother.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys for coming around and spending some time with us and shooting the shit. You know, we'll be back around to talk some wrestling next time. So come join us next time on the Cheap Pop Podcast and be safe, my people. Peace.